Okay, in this video we're going to work on the sidebar area, and we'll just start the same method we've done before. We'll go from top to bottom. So the first element we encounter here is this heading tag. So let's go over to our HTML and start to flesh out the contents of this sidebar div. So now we're finally finished with the section. We're going to move down into the aside. And because this is secondary content, we're going to use a header 3 tag. So our main header would be a header 1, which we've used up in here, and then header 2s for these and these. And then this is the secondary or maybe even tertiary content, so we're going to use a H3. So we'll say header 3, and this is called our current projects, or whatever we want to call the title of this sidebar. And let's save that and refresh over here. So there's our header 3, and of course it doesn't have any default styling, but it's going to be very similar to these headers right here. And so I can actually just borrow this, and remember this has an ID of side. So if I come to my CSS, I can do a group selector. This will be a good time to illustrate how a group selector works. So I'm going to come down to the rule that affects those header 2s of the home boxes, and I'm going to do a comma. I'm going to say #side H3. So basically all of these rules will be applied to this CSS selector and this CSS selector. So now when I save and refresh, you can see that that gets the exact same rules. But the only problem is that it has some of these things we don't want, like it has a width and a few things like that. So we're going to have to override this in our own selector. So we'll come down here after the side finally. We can say side H3, and we can say width 100%. We'll save and refresh that. It's looking pretty good. And we probably want this center aligned over here. So we can just come over here and say text-align and center. And that'll center that up right there, and that's pretty good for our header. So the next section we're going to work on here is back to our mockup. We'll just bring in this little image. We'll do this at the same time because it's fairly easy. So back here to our HTML, we'll come down to our side section, and we'll just add an image tag. Image source equals. We'll say alt equals, I'll just call this featured image 1. And let's jump over here to get the name of that. We saved that out quite a long time ago. So let's come up in here to our images, and let's see, I think that one is current projects 1. So that's what we called that. So for the source, we'll say images / current projects 1.jpg. And save and refresh that, and that pops up. It's exactly the size we want right there, so that fits in there just right. Now we probably want to add a little bit of bottom margin on that header as well, so that doesn't butt up right against that. So back to our CSS sheet here, we'll come down to that H3 margin bottom. We'll set that equal to 1em or something. Space that out a little bit. Okay, so in the next video tutorial, we'll continue on here, and we're going to work on this little well, or this little maybe tagline.